emigrated to the United States to escape Lebanon's civil war. He obtained an MBA at George Mason University and an MPA at Harvard University. He is a tech entrepreneur, writer, and activist. As a tech entrepreneur, he founded Tidwit, a company whose mission is ecosystem knowledge dissemination and education, serving some of the world's largest organizations. As a writer, Wissam has published several books on democracy in the Arab world, Lebanon's development, and the role of expats. His latest book is a novel titled Fina, which brings it all together by following experiences of an expat who, after a long absence, decides to return to Lebanon sometime in the future, and what he sees and who he encounters, you'll have to read it to find out. Wissam's activism has seen him lecture, lobby for, and promote his native Lebanon. He evangelized innovative educational solutions to help Lebanon scale to meet the massive needs of the public school system. He is one of a small group of Harvard alumni who authored Lebanon's Citizen Bill of Rights in 2015. He's currently on the board of the Constructive Change Group promoting peaceful democratic change, and recently helped research and draft a unified election platform for the October 17th change movement. He's led fundraising initiatives for Lebanon post-explosion, as well as helped provide more than 500,000 masks to the country for public safety. Wissam has lobbied for expat policy and networking, and his efforts have helped to make this event possible. So join me in welcoming Wissam. Without further ado.
Thank you, Audrey, and welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming. I've heard from several of you that this is one of the first events you attend post-COVID, so this is quite the effort, so thank you. So I have a couple of opening remarks, and then I think you're all here for the movie, so I hope that I'll get through with them very quickly. So, I have to say that it's very encouraging to see so many of you here. We actually expected to have an event with 100 people, and then we expanded it to 110, then 120, and then 150, and then finally we ended up with about 180 plus people, which is pretty impressive, and I think it's very encouraging to those that are engaged in the struggle for our homeland, and nothing is more so than a sold-out crowd. So, your presence here today proves to many naysayers that the world still cares about our troubled little homeland. You care enough to take time from your busy schedules. You care enough that even during these difficult times, you still want to learn more, try to understand what is happening in Lebanon, and to possibly offer help from halfway around the world. So your resounding message to Lebanon today is that love and hope are still alive and abundant in the hearts of expats, friends, and well-wishers. And this indeed is very heartening for the homeland. Like was stated, I left the homeland when I was young, trying to escape the civil war. But in reality, even though I left a long time ago, the homeland never really left me. And so I found myself active in many ways for the better part of 3 decades. But I must say that the past couple of years in particular must rank among the most fulfilling. And why, one might ask, given the sad state of Lebanon and its people. It has become poorer, more dysfunctional, and more chaotic than most of us can remember. And yes, tragedy has befallen the Lebanese people, the fun-loving Lebanese people, and it's hard to bear for most, even tenacious and persevering people such as the Lebanese and those who invented the term stoicism. And yet somehow through all the pain, I've managed to see that Lebanon has also become truer. The fake veneer is gone. The Levantine pomposity has dissipated. There's no more hiding behind false truths, exaggerations, hollow allegiances, and faulty notions of belonging. What remains is the stark image of women and men fighting for the soul of their nation. Meeting some of them on the streets of Beirut, Tripoli, and different parts of Lebanon, in Europe, in the US, now Australia, and Latin America, even online, has genuinely made me feel proud. At least for those peacefully standing up against grave injustice. So let us not underestimate their cries of enough. Let us not shrug off the mothers who went down to the streets to protect their children's futures, or the brave men who stood up to the beatings and imprisonment, or the youth who refuse to stop dreaming, even while they sweep glass charred, mixed with human remains and broken dreams from their bereaved capital of Beirut. Let us not ignore the artists who welded phoenix from a destroyed tent and sculpted rubble from destroyed lives. And of course, let us not ignore the filmmakers who are bold enough to come back to their far-flung homeland in the darkest of its hours, to join in the chorus and say, enough. It is this undying spirit that brings us here together today to watch a documentary which chronicles succinctly but powerfully the story of what Lebanon has become, and perhaps, just perhaps, as importantly, to help us understand why. And so we have only Daizy Gedeon, and her team, Ronnie, and others, all the way from Australia here with us today. And we can only thank them for the amazing effort that they put into making this movie. Their dedication is commendable. Daizy and the team, please stand up to be recognized. I would also like to recognize some others who have joined us today in saying enough. Dr. James Zogby, who we will be hearing more from a little bit later. Thank you for being here. He's the president of the Arab American Institute. Former presidential candidate Marianne Williamson as well. So thank you for being with us today. Retired Colonel Abbas Tahouk from Aleen, who has also made some massive accomplishments in Lebanon. Pierre Dahir of LBC, good friend. Pierre, thank you for being here from Lebanon. Terry Vitar, where's Terry, who is basically doing a lot of philanthropy work. Thank you for being here, Terry. And so many others from our community, who I hope we will get a chance to hear from during the Q&A session. I would also like to thank the Constructive Change Group and Thawra TV in hosting this event, but also LBC, MTV, Al Arabiya, The Washington Post, BBC Arabia, and Radio Sawa for their coverage. Thank you all. And thank you for spreading the word. Now, a quick programming note. Immediately following the movie, there will be a discussion and an open Q&A with the film director, Daizy, and with Dr. James Zogby. I will moderate this. So please make sure you stick around once the credits appear, and we would love to hear from you. And now, before we start the movie, I would like once more, as a public safety message, due to everyone's health, safety, and DC ordinance, we are all required to keep our masks on. Only when I'm speaking, I'm not allowed. I guess take it down. So please do keep the masks on. And finally, I have a quick question to ask before we start the movie. By a show of hands, how many of here have planned to vote in Lebanon's election? Thank you for that. Cameraman, roll the movie.